What is going on, Cardano community? Welcome back to another episode of Cardano Consensus. I'm joined here with my co-host Josh from the Late Game Crypto channel. Happy Saturday, Josh. How's it going so far?
I wish I could say I was doing good. It's been rough. Life happens, but we've got a world to change, so I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just dive straight into it. If it's your guys' first time stopping by, this is going to be a pretty laid back conversation between Josh and I surrounding some of the highlights here in terms of development within the Cardano ecosystem. So, as a part of today's discussion, we're going to be chatting first off about Charli3 or C3 and their first integration with the Liqwid protocol. Following that, we're going to touch on Orcfax, which currently has their IPO, which is ongoing. And then second, we're going to dive into InfinityPools, which is going to be a brand new on-chain staking protocol or platform coming to Cardano. Following that, we're going to dive into NEWM and their brand new record store, which was just released earlier this month. And then in closing, we've got the best for last year. We're going to be chatting about MELD and their multi-chain narrative, the fact that they're going to be launching on the mainnet on May 3rd when it comes to their MELD app and their L1. And then we're going to chat a little bit about the highly anticipated bank manager NFTs. Josh, how does that sound to you? You ready to go?
Oh, I'm ready. It was a big month for Cardano, and I'm stoked about this episode.
Perfect, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. First things first, Charli3 and Liqwid. For the viewers who may not be aware here, the first integration for Charli was actually Liqwid. Liqwid is going to be a DeFi lending and borrowing protocol that launched in early February. And this was a major highlight here, given the fact that Oracle, not Oracle, but Charli, which is an Oracle platform, has been around for quite a bit of time, but they really didn't actually have an integration. So, what does this speak to you, Josh, as to the future of Charli and what we could potentially expect for some of these Oracle platforms building on Cardano?
This is an essential step for the future of DeFi. You have to have oracles. You have to have decentralized oracles in order to have a truly decentralized, thriving DeFi system. So the fact that now we've got integrations happening, we've got Oracle products up and running, and more than one now that are developing and moving forward and innovating and like partnering with these projects. This is like a major pivotal step for the future of DeFi. So I'm really excited that this happened. This is two big name projects that are working together, and it's the first of many, I'm sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that point. I think that we're going to see Charli, given the fact that they're solely focusing on Cardano, right? They're not going to be like Chainlink, which is a multi-chain platform now. It will be interesting to see as they grow, though, if they end up also going multi-chain, right? We saw, I think, a few other protocols on Cardano kind of start off as Cardano native and really kind of focusing in-house, but I think it's inevitable. A lot of people really start to look outwards once they realize, the state of Cardano and the opportunities as well, right? So it's not to FUD Cardano. I think there's a lot of really good innovation and tech going on here, and there's a lot of stuff being built. But I also think that there's big opportunities if you're able to really get a name out there, and especially right now where we're just so early within the crypto and blockchain space. So that's just something that I'm going to be keeping in mind and just kind of watching to see how does the C3 platform integrate with other DeFi protocols, and exactly how will they kind of manage that vision when it comes to looking outside of Cardano. Now, one thing that really kind of struck me here was just how long this actually took to happen, right? I feel like the C3 protocol has been on mainnet since around, was that Rare Bloom? Yeah, that was Rare Bloom. I think that's actually when they
Mhm.
announced it. It was the middle of October. And
Mhm.
since then, I mean, I think they've just been doing stuff kind of in the background, but do you maybe have an idea as to, what they've been doing between then and now?
They've been talking with projects in the background. I think there's some stuff that I'm really not at liberty to say, but yeah, they've been doing a lot of collaborating for years, really, with a lot of different projects, and they're really taking a lot of steps to start those integrations and rolling them out to like public news. And like as we start to see protocols on Cardano roll out a little bit more over the course of this year, next year, the next few years, really we're going to see a lot more integrations happening with Charli3 and other oracles.
Yeah. One other thing that really kind of struck me when it comes to this as well is the fact that we saw the C3 token on MELD's testnet. So I remember I asked Matt Nash during one of the MELD with Us's who they were going to be using as a Oracle platform, and he did not say. But if you read between the lines, again, there's really only one platform. Now there's, I think, a competitor that we're going to talk about here in just a moment, but it's not like there's, 100 different choices on Cardano. And so I'm interested to see, when or if they actually make that announcement surrounding an integration for MELD with Charli3 or with C3. But we're going to be chatting a little bit more about MELD here in just a second. So any closing thoughts here, Josh, when it comes to this integration with Liqwid, what it means for DeFi and what it means for Charli3?
I think that this is a big deal for what Cardano has to show, for what kind of products that they could bring to the table and what the decentralized nature of those products are. As we'll talk about a little more in a second, you don't have to integrate just one decentralized Oracle platform. It can be multiple, and it works out better that way if you do. So the fact that Charli3 is getting out there and laying the groundwork and establishing that functionality, that they're the first mover in the market, and that they're not going to be the last. They're going to keep innovating, and competition is a good thing.
Yep, I 100% agree with you on that. I think it really forces people to continue to push the space forward and to innovate. It keeps everybody on their toes. We've definitely seen that with marketplaces like JPEG, Flipper.io coming out, and Plutus.art, so it keeps the innovation high and it keeps the market moving forward. All right, I think that's going to take us through that very first topic that we were going to touch on there, but we do have a sub point, which is going to be surrounding Orcfax. So we were just talking about how Liqwid kind of has the majority of the market share here, and they really are the first mover. But we've recently heard about a brand new ISPO and a brand new competitor when it comes to the Oracle space, which is going to be Orcfax. Now, generally speaking, for anybody who's not aware of what an Oracle is, it's basically a platform whose job it is to take real world decisions and real world data and to bring that on chain. And so platforms like C3 and platforms like Orcfax are doing that in a verified and secure manner. Now, Orcfax literally came out of nowhere. I want to say that they popped up on my timeline about a month ago. And right after I saw of them and I heard of them, they launched their ISPO. Now, their ISPO is going to have a margin of 99%. So what this means for anybody who's delegating to that pool is that 99% of the block rewards are going directly to the Orcfax team. So this allows for them to raise funds to develop their protocol. But in exchange, they're going to be giving away the FACT token. So for anybody who's interested, I actually think at this point that the pool's saturated. So there's actually no way to get in at this point unless delegators move out. But back to my main point, I was just extremely surprised, and I'm sure that you're probably too, Josh, at the fact that this team came on so quickly and they filled up their ISPO pool in 3 epochs, which is literally unheard of. I think the only other teams that did something like that was MELD and a few other really big names here within the space. So what are your thoughts about Orcfax and the expectations that have kind of been set now, given their popularity of their ISPO?
I'm very enthusiastic about Orcfax. It was a matter of time before we saw a competitor to Charli3 coming up, and that was necessary. That was something that I've been looking for. It will be good for Charli3 and Orcfax that they're competing with one another. But what I love about the existence of these two Oracle products is that they have communicated with each other. They're not at each other's throats in a way that a lot of other competitors in the blockchain space tend to be. It's that they're really trying to be polarized, anti-tribalism sort of attitude, and that's how it should be. That's how competition should be. Is we're trying to make each other better. I think that Charli3 had the advantage of being the first mover. They've had 2 years to build, and there hasn't been a lot of information or news coming out that's really exciting. And I think people get impatient a lot. I think that makes sense for Charli3 though, because they're building something that's never been built before. It's a brand new programming language. Nobody's native Plutus Oracle that's never been done before. So of course it's going to take a long time to develop it and figure it out. They're the pioneers of the space. I think that Orcfax will have a little bit of an easier time because they'll be able to learn from Charli3, and they'll be able to develop something that has been done before, but they'll be able to do it in their own way and produce something that Charli3 didn't come off the bat with, and then Charli3 will come back at that with a competitive response, and like that's how these things are supposed to work. I'd like to hope that more oracles would pop up in the Cardano space moving forward, but with these two, I think they're strong projects to be developing on Cardano. So I'm excited to see all of this developing.
I'm also excited, and I really like what you said there. The fact that Orcfax will be able to kind of iterate and learn from C3's mistakes, or just from things that even have maybe worked well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not always to say that it's always iterating on the bad, but they could also iterate on the good and even make those things better. It's almost kind of like the debate that people have with Bitcoin maximalism, where people talk about, Bitcoin is the best. And I use this analogy with somebody else I was speaking with in private, basically stating that, like, look at vehicles. You take the very first Model T, you take a car from the 1960s, and take a Model S Tesla right now, and you compare
Mm-hmm.
those three generations of vehicles, and you'd be like, man, they've evolved so much over time. I think it's the same exact concept with crypto and Bitcoin. Being that first generation is kind of like the grandpa, Ethereum being that second generation. And then we've got smart contracting platforms like Cardano, which really have iterated and taken a look at the issues and the bottlenecks that both of those two platforms had, and they've iterated on them, right? So I'm hoping we're going to see something like this, not only with Orcfax and C3, but just within the ecosystem as a whole, as we have, NFTs begin to blossom and to grow, as we begin to have DeFi blossom and grow as well. Hopefully, in 2 to 3 years from now, people will look back and say, man, it's so crazy to think that we were so satisfied with oracles and DeFi back then compared to now, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's an evolution, but I want to just agree with that point that you made there. And then in closing too, I think that people definitely need to work together in this ecosystem, to fight the outsiders. There's no need to be infighting, right? Like you said, being able to talk to somebody else who's doing the same thing. You might be able to leverage something. They might open source something that another platform can benefit from. We really saw two big platforms open source their code, and unbeknownst to me, Liqwid was like in the middle of both of those two platforms that open source their code. So that was pretty interesting to see that, everybody who's building here is somehow leveraging or using things that other people may have built. And it's not a bad thing. It's completely
Mm-hmm.
okay. As long as they're pushing the space forward, that's what it's there for, and that's what it's meant to do. So my closing
Exactly.
thoughts there on Orcfax.
Yep. Yep. Couldn't have said it better. I have nothing to add to that. That's exactly how I see it as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump straight into our next topic then, Josh, which is going to be InfinityPools. So InfinityPools is going to be a brand new NFT on-chain staking platform that has just released their website. Now, they are still building, and I'm excited to actually share that I'm a part of this team. So this is going to be a conversation that is near and dear to myself, but I want to just highlight some of the other team members and some of the benefits here of this platform. So Josh, do you maybe just kind of want to give me your thoughts as to the platform, and then maybe we can dive into some of the benefits that people could actually use this for moving forward?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny. I've known about this platform for a good, I don't know, couple of months now ish, and I was excited to find out that you actually had some insight on this one too. And I think I can speak for both of us when I say that I'm stoked about what's being developed here, because we do need more competition in this particular space. We need more service providers that are bringing things to crypto, that are able to do things that other projects might not be able to do. I'm excited that they're building something here that has some solid use case that will bring a lot of value to a lot of different projects.
Yeah. And one thing that comes to mind, just kind of responding to what you just said there, we've got other platforms that are aiming to do something very similar. We've got Anvil. I believe the actual Mutants platform also has a staking platform that they're building.
Mm-hmm.
So again, really kind of touching on the fact that it's okay to have multiple projects doing similar things.
Mm-hmm.
It drives innovation. It breeds new ideas, and that's exactly what the InfinityPools team is trying to do. So in touching on some of the key benefits here of InfinityPools, I'm going to take a look at 6 of them here that are listed on their website. The first is going to be utility, which is basically surrounding benefits now for projects that are going to be onboarded into InfinityPools that they can now give back to their communities, right? A lot of people don't consider staking a utility, but Charles actually had a AMA in which he basically talked about how staking is a key part of our ecosystem. We've got more than 70% of the ADA on the network staked, which is millions of dollars. And second here is onboarding. So if you're going to be a platform looking to come into the InfinityPools platform or the InfinityPools protocol, you won't have to actually build everything from scratch. They're going to be able to set you up with a customizable page for your community, and they'll be able to basically gear everything to fit your project, right? Whether you're trying to provide abilities to stake NFTs or whether you're trying to reward people in certain ways, all of that will be programmable and modifiable depending on the kind of project that you're bringing on. Third is going to be price stability, and I think that this doesn't really need too much explanation here. But whenever you're staking something, it's especially when it's done on chain, it's no longer available to be sold or put up for sale on a secondary marketplace. So that drives the adoption, or that drives the demand for that particular asset. So projects that are coming on here using staking as a mechanism to reward their community, not only does the community earn tokens and additional NFTs or exclusive content, but on top of that, the floor prices for these NFTs that are being staked normally tends to rise as well. In closing, I'm going to pick up on these last 3 regulations. So the team is aiming to kind of take that burden off of people here in the ecosystem, allowing for InfinityPools to take care of the distribution. Marketing, as I mentioned before, you'll be set up with a dedicated webpage for your project. And then community, right? Using staking, you can now actually have the community also participate in governance, right? So voting for things to be added and just so much more. I think it really creates a sense of engagement for the community. So those are just some of the key highlights I wanted to touch on there. Anything you want to add, Josh, as to your take on staking in general?
As far as staking in general, I agree. I've got lots of stuff about staking. It's a distribution mechanism. It's something that it takes work to do. People see it as like, oh, it's a passive income opportunity. It's so much more than that. Staking actually allows people to take their tokens and interact with the protocol in a way that helps the ecosystem and gives it use case and something to do with it, so that it's not just a grab it, buy it when it's low and sell it when it's high type of thing. It adds more to it. And what I love what InfinityPools doing is they acknowledge that is a thing, a service that needs to be provided, but they add more to it. With the last 3 points here: regulation, marketing, and community. These are services that projects on Cardano in particular, especially, they need help with that. So InfinityPools is much more than like a token or NFT staking platform. It's a business to business blockchain service suite. I'm excited they're bringing in. I can see that they have paid attention to the services that are already out there, and they've added to it to provide something that projects need. And I love the collaboration between different individuals of the crypto community. The people behind this project, including yourself, are people that really believe in the future and are committed to the space. I couldn't ask for a better team to come together to provide these services.
Yeah, thank you. And definitely shout out to Vivek, Sean, Mike. We've got Jason, Chris, Eugenie, Vanya, and Sharif, who are all part of the team, including myself. And they were extremely amazing in onboarding me and really kind of showing me the ropes as to what they had, because I came in, once the team was already established. And so I also want to mention what you were just saying there. When it comes to this platform, there's issues within the ecosystem. A lot of it really comes down to scalability and funds as well as expertise. And so what InfinityPools is looking to do is help projects out in that sense, right? If you don't have the deep pockets to build all of this tech for yourselves, well, you can leverage a platform like InfinityPools. A a lot of what we're trying to do here is to simplify and help some of these projects in the ecosystem really flourish. And so I'm happy to really be a part of this project. Let me just quickly go ahead and just share with the audience here the team members. As I mentioned, we've got Vivek, who runs Votaire. We've got Sean from the Jira Wallet team. We've got Mike, who's also from the Votaire team. And then we've got Jason, who's going to be the creative director. Chris, head of security. Myself, I'll be in charge of marketing. Eugenie, who's going to be a software developer. Vanya, who's going to be in charge of social media. And then very last, and definitely not least, we've got Sharif, who's going to be the front-end engineer. So that is going to be it there, I think, on InfinityPools. Josh, any closing thoughts or remarks?
No, I'd say pay attention to this one and watch what happens. That there's value that's going to be brought by this project.
Yeah, we're going to be hosting, I think, some Twitter spaces here, really getting the word out over the course of the next months. The smart contracts are ready. The testnet has not yet been announced, but stay tuned for that. We will definitely be making announcements here on all social media platforms, once that is ready to be tested by the community. All right, that is going to wrap it up there for our second topic. Moving into the third one, we are going to be chatting a little bit about NEWM, which is going to be a decentralization platform for creative artists and collectors. So this was quite a big update here, Josh, and I'm sure that you've been checking this platform out, but we recently saw the release of the NEWM music record store. So this is not only a platform for collectors, but it's also a platform for artists to now upload their music and actually interact and sell some of that to their community. So what are your thoughts here on this? What are you looking most forward to? Have you experienced it? What are your thoughts?
There's a big ego boost behind this one exploding because I did a video on NEWM like 5 months ago, and I'm so stoked to see that it's looking like I was right about this project turning out and doing well. I was already extremely bullish on this project, and I have started to interact with them more and pay attention to what's going on, listen in on some of the Twitter spaces that they host pretty regularly, and it just makes me even more bullish on what's going on here. These guys really know what they're doing. They're really passionate about building and creating something, and they know their stuff. They know what's going on. They've got a very big team of specialists in everything that you would need to make a truly transformational move in this industry. This is one of those projects that I see long term doing very, very well, and I commend the integrity and principle behind what they've got going on here. I think the launch of the NEWM record store is a huge piece of infrastructure in bringing music to blockchain and kicking off that revolution. So I'm excited to see this happening on Cardano because this is something that I am not an expert in, but I care about very deeply. For the longest time, actually, up until maybe a couple of months ago, I refused to sign up for Spotify because it's they don't have artists' best interest in mind. And I think NEWM is gonna change that and put that power back in the hand of music artists.
And I think that's their goal. So I think they're executing extremely well. Two things that I want to mention. Number one, like you said, they're doing this on Cardano. It helps the ecosystem. It's really impressive.
Mhm.
But to that, they're really helping out these artists. A lot of times, these artists have to give a lot of their core earnings, right, to whoever's actually providing them the streaming services, and they get a really small amount when it comes to royalties. So to now have them be able to kind of really be in charge of their own finances and be able to be in full control, I think is number one, the power of the blockchain. But number two, on the flip side of that, consumers can now also earn as well by supporting artists that they actually like. So by purchasing NFTs, I believe, and by those NFTs or that music being played, some of the revenue, right, also goes back to the actual customers or the people that purchase these NFTs. So it's almost kind of like a flywheel. As the artist heats up, they make more sales, people purchase more NFTs, they get more plays. Everybody, it's a win-win situation. So that's what has me most excited about NEWM. Obviously, their price has been pumping as well, but just a lot of really solid development coming from them. And so I'm sure this is going to be just like JPEG.store, where we're going to see continuous updates coming in and out, improving the platform, but it's a huge step in the right direction. Again, really supporting all the in-house artists that we have here on Cardano. I know Nito, who is pretty well known when it comes to this space, he actually released a collection that sold out almost instantly on the release date of the platform itself. So really showing the power of the community and the fact that artists are able to get on there. So if you're an artist and you want to jump on this platform, we're going to go ahead and leave the link to it down in the description below. If you're a music connoisseur and you just want to, check out some art or some music and you want to support artists in a way, then also check it out. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm also getting exposed to new people that I didn't know, were contributing to this ecosystem. So again, a lot of really positive news here surrounding NEWM in general. What else are you thinking, Josh?
I could talk for hours about this project. I'm stoked about what they do. At CNFTCon, I talked to them for a minute, and they had bought too much merchandise. So they had this beanbag chair that's branded with NEWM, and they couldn't take it with them over to Rare Bloom, which was right after that. So they're trying to get people to take it. I've got one, and it's sitting in my office in the corner over there. And yeah, I sit on it all the time and just play my my Spotify playlist of NEWM songs, and it's awesome because that contributes to the ecosystem, and people that own those NFTs are going to be receiving royalties for it. It's great. I love what they're doing. I couldn't say enough good things about it. I'm very excited about them.
Yep. Shout out to their entire team. I did also get to speak to Ryan Jones, who I believe is the CEO at Rare Bloom and at CNFTCon as well. We actually did a Kopi Cafe together. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so in closing here, I do want to say that Rob and Josh did drop a little bit of alpha talking about potentially integrating NEWM in the Cornucopias metaverse, right? So that would be really cool to see if you could be driving in your bubble jet, listening to music that's streaming or that is being provided from NEWM, right? Again, really just kind of watching out as to how people in the ecosystem are really leveraging each other's niches. Cornucopias being a metaverse, leveraging music, and NEWM also being able to leverage their music and distribute it out into the metaverse. So it's awesome to see. I'm excited for it. But I think that's going to do it there for that particular update. So we're coming up at just about 30 minutes now. I think we're going to go ahead and dive into our very last topic here, and probably the one that's going to get the most amount of attention as a part of today's update. Now, not to take away from any of these updates, I think they've all been wonderful, but there's just been a lot of community chatter surrounding MELD. So if you guys are not familiar with MELD, they're going to be a DeFi lending and borrowing protocol, very similar to what we already have with Liqwid and what we already have with AADA Finance. However, they're all going to be doing things a little bit differently, right? So MELD has recently announced that as a part of May 3rd, they're going to be releasing their MELD app, and they're going to be launching their MELD L1 on the Avalanche subnet. That got a ton of mixed reactions. A lot of people were really kind of throwing questions out at MELD, specifically regarding the fact that they had not yet launched on Cardano. But to be clear, and this was stated by the team, they're not launching the lending and borrowing platform. They're launching the wallet, and they're launching their Avalanche subnet. But even on the subnet, the lending and borrowing will not be available yet. So while there's been a lot of questions around that, the team has been completely transparent. And then most recently, the team has also open sourced all of their code. So there was a lot of FUD surrounding that as well. People were like, well, is MELD actually building for Cardano once they announced the fact that they'd be moving to Avalanche? But once the code base was revealed and you could actually see the Plutus and Cardano smart contracts, I think a lot of the FUD was dispelled. But I think that there's still been a lot of FUD going on. So we recently had a conversation, and I think you're going to be talking about this here on your live stream coming up with Bison, who has still been questioning MELD. But what's your take on Bison and his approach to what's been going on here with MELD in general?
I have so many thoughts. I respect Bison. He and I probably disagree on the positive or negative outlook. Basically, our opinions on what projects are good and what projects are bad are basically completely the opposite. I disagree with him on so many things, and I'm sure he disagrees with so many things that I say as well. But I respect him because he and I think both The one thing I can say that we have in common is that we don't care what anybody thinks about us. We've got our opinions, and we will share them openly. Um, and I respect the audience that he's built. I respect that he's stirring the pot and saying things that other people won't say. There's a level of respect there. The trouble that I have, and I encourage open debate, open conversation. At some point, the bad arguments need to be pushed to the side, and people need to gravitate more towards the good arguments. And the problem is that there isn't any understanding or training on argumentation and debate that's like commonly out there. I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit and brag about myself, but like I would consider myself an authority, not an expert, an authority on argumentation and debate. I've got national awards that I have won from my experience back in college. I have some training in this area, and from that perspective, I see what's being said out there, and Meld is held to a wildly unfair standard in the space. People throw criticisms at Meld no matter what they do. They could be doing things right. They have been doing things right. And still they get criticized, regardless of what it is. And it's for very nitpicky things that don't actually have any tangible impacts, that actually don't lead to anywhere or mean anything bad. People are just like finding things to put in a negative light. It's a complete waste of time, honestly. They're not good, properly structured arguments, and yeah, the suspicion there is completely unfounded. Meld has been incredibly transparent, far more transparent than most other projects in the space, and is consistent. It's been done with integrity. It's been done with as much information as can and should be responsibly shared, and it's also more information than most other projects generally tend to put out. So I you and I both definitely have a bias here, because we see what's going on the inside. We understand the integrity. We understand the approach and thought process behind the things that Meld does and says to the public, and from that, like, we get a much more positive outlook on the direction that it's going. That's fair. I acknowledge that. But what Meld has put out to the public, that alone isolated, it should be very exciting. It is very exciting to a lot of people. But yeah, it's disappointing to see people throwing shade that is completely undeserved. But it is what it is. You know, conversations are happening, people are talking about it, and from that, Meld is getting more attention. So I think for the long run, it works out. People are going to be proven wrong in the next 1 to 2 years about Meld, regardless of what side that they're on whether or not they believe it's a good project or a bad project. But I'm obviously believing that it's a good project, and I am wholeheartedly on board with the direction that they're going.
That was very well put together, Josh. And I want to start off my response by saying that I think you do deliver quite well when it comes to these structured topics. I've actually watched quite a few of your videos, and even before I started creating content, I would watch your videos when you'd compare like Meld against AADA Finance and so forth. And I think the way that you structure these arguments is very well put together. We need more of that. So that's my first point. I also want to say that we have to really gravitate towards facts. I get a lot of comments in my videos about people being disappointed in Meld. I always let people know, hey, good things take time to build. Yes, there might be unicorns where you get a really good product that comes to market very quickly, but that isn't the standard, especially when it comes to software, and then even more blockchain. Building regular software takes forever. Elon Musk has been trying to do Twitter right for I don't know how many months now, and they're still having issues. 1 week they have a blue check, 1 week they don't, 1 week they have this feature, 1 week they don't. And that's just traditional software. So imagine trying to do that. And then on top of that, you've got blockchain technology, which is constantly changing around the clock as new versions of the Cardano nodes coming out. We've got new versions of Plutus, we've got Icon, we've got the Vassal hard fork. All these different things are all different factors. So the speed at which a platform is able to build should not matter as much as it does, but I understand people's investments are at stake. So people are emotionally tied to these decisions. So I understand why, there's a lot of pressure for people to deliver, but I think that we really need to kind of step back and understand that what these people are building is aiming to revolutionize the entire space. This is not something that's meant to just hold $100,000. These are protocols and platforms which we've already seen Liqwid come online, and they've got more than $11 million in a matter of a couple of months. If there's an exploit, if there's an issue, that's a lot of people that are going to be extremely disappointed. So the fact that MELD is taking their time and trying to do this the right way, I think, again, gains my personal respect, and I am understanding of why they're doing things that way. So that's my second point there. The third is the fact that the team has shown that they're capable. They've had their ISPO, they've distributed rewards with little to no issues, right? That was the MELD Diamond Hands and the ISPO rewards. They had the Akamon Alpha, they had the Akamon Beta on testnet. You could have actually gone on there, taken your assets from Cardano, move it over to Polygon, and then move it back, right? These were things that were tangible. It's not like they just talked about it. Most recently, they had their testnet for lending and borrowing. And when that kicked off, it was closed. People were giving a lot of FUD saying, why are they closed, etc. Well, they just opened it. And since they've released it in January, we've got additional support now for not only Cardano tokens, but we've now got EVM support in the wallet. We've got NFT support in the wallet. We've got lending and borrowing, which is extremely high quality with their user interface. And you can now also even do Cardano native staking directly in their wallet. Again, this is all tangible on the testnet. Don't take my word for it. Go and check it out for yourselves, And that's my thing is I don't think that there's a lot of people really diving into this, and they're falling prey to the loudest voices in the room, which the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So like you said, we have a closer view to what's going on. So we are a little bit more patient and understanding. And I understand that the general public may not have that view, but given MELD's recent releases, that should hopefully give them more confidence as to what is coming down the pipeline. Like, we're not just talking about vaporware here. There's a fully functioning testnet. They've announced that they're going to be launching on May 3rd. So these are facts. This is not an opinion. These are facts. And I think that's what we really have to come back to is facts. We just saw Ken actually take time to jump on a Twitter space with Bison. That in itself spoke volumes. What other CEOs or what other founders are you guys seeing jump onto Twitter spaces to also really dispel the FUD that's coming against them? Not many. And so the fact that Bison was still giving MELD a hard time after that, in which Ken answered every single question with granularity and with examples, I'm just like, what else more do you want? People will believe what they want to believe in. They're entitled to their own opinions. Like you said, you're entitled to your own opinion. I'm entitled to my own opinion. And my opinion is that MELD is delivering on what they've said that they're doing. Until they show that they're incapable of doing so, I'm going to continue to support them. I'm sure you will too. But again, I understand why people may feel a certain way. But that's okay. That's why we live in the country that we do. People can have disagreements. People can think different things, and that's all part of the process. So that's my thesis there on MELD. I know that was quite a bit, but I feel very strongly about it, and it's something that I see personally in my comments. It's like a really divided audience, and so I just wanted to say that there, and hopefully that clears up my side of things.
That was extraordinarily well put, and very well organized and argued, I might put. It's very helpful to put it in that, that structure and organization. And I'd like to add real quick to that like the antithesis of not launching is to launch early before it's truly ready and before you have confidence in it. The best way to start making money is to launch it as soon as possible. I feel like this move to delay and not launch products right away on Cardano is it couldn't be a money driven move. And I think that's what a lot of people fail to realize is that this is not a greed driven move. This is this is very clearly and can't be anything else other than trying to handle it responsibly. So
Icing on the cake there, and IOG has collaborated or corroborated the fact that they're working with Meld. So on top of that, people are like, this is a scam. They're not building anything. Well, if they're not building anything, if they're looking to launch only on Avalanche, why would they collaborate with IOG in the first
mm-hmm,
place? So
mm-hmm.
again, I think people understand our take on it. Hopefully, we'll see some of this kind of dissipate over the course of the next few months as they begin to really release stuff on mainnet. But again, just to wrap this up, on May 3rd, we have the wallet going on mainnet, and then we've got the layer one going on mainnet as well on the Avalanche subnet. Now, let's end on a positive note here with a little bit of hype surrounding the Bank Manager NFTs. This is a collection that has gone through a few iterations, but over the course of the last few weeks, the Freeloaders team, who I believe is going to be handling the minting portal and the distribution of the NFTs, has been sharing more and more content. So I've got this pretty gold bank manager here that was just tweeted out yesterday in preparation of the mint of these NFTs. Now, the MELD team hasn't given us a date just yet. I think I'll let you break a little bit of alpha surrounding what we've seen internally. But they've also said that as a part of their attendance at the Avalanche Summit here, taking place at the beginning of May, that they've got some surprises for the community. So what are your thoughts as to what those surprises could be about?
We haven't been told, have we, what those surprises are? I'm stoked. It's about time. And Meld, I think, has learned that it's probably better not to put any dates out when it comes to this project because it's been such a long time coming. It's very funny to me, but I'm so stoked to finally see this happen. We've seen the NFTs. We've seen the art, you and I. And I've scrolled through something like 20,000 NFTs and looked through. They're unique. They're interesting. I'm excited to finally see this get out there. And it'll be a cool, fun thing to do in the meantime while we wait for Meld to get things up and running and get more exciting over this next year. It is a gift that has been promised for a long time from Meld, and Meld has stuck to that, and it's exciting to see it finally get out there.
Yeah, they're finally going to be able to get in the hands of everybody who's been waiting so patiently. I think it's going to bring back a lot of positive spirit within the community, right? There hasn't been much going on, and I don't want to downplay the testnet by any means. That's been a lot. But for the NFT community, we got the Diamond Hands in December, January of 2022. So that was like the first and the only NFT being released by Meld. And so this is going to be their second NFT collection, which I think, again, will bring a lot of eyes towards them. Now, it's quite interesting now that I'm actually thinking about it, because LQ also has an NFT collection. I'm not sure that AADA has one. But to really see that Meld is going to be taking this to the next level and actually providing utility for these bank managers on the protocol is another benefit that, again, I'm not necessarily seeing being done everywhere else. Now, with the LQ Aqua Farmers, you do, I think, get some rewards by staking them. And it'll be very similar with Meld, where the bank managers will actually offer you a loan interest rate reduction if you're borrowing. And then if you're supplying to the protocol, you'll actually be able to earn a little bit of a yield boost there. So not only is it beautiful artwork, but you can actually use it with the protocol. And then using the Meld wallet, you'll be able to store your bank managers directly inside your wallet and then use them within the protocol as you wish. So it's going to be a seamless transition once this launches. And that's what has me so hyped up about Meld is it's not just the lending and borrowing, it's some of the other things that they're doing around it as well that really kind of brings and ties everything together. So I am excited about it. As soon as they're released, I'm sure that you're going to have a video on your channel. I'm definitely going to have a video on my channel as well, just kind of talking about the art, how to pick them up, and how to mint them. So people that have been waiting, let's just be patient for a little bit longer. I'm excited to hear what other potential surprises might be in store. Again, I don't think that you and I have been given a heads up, but there should definitely be, I think, a lot coming up here over the course of the next 2 or 3 weeks for Meld. So the light is upon us. We're right there.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, and just to settle expectations and see if I can get it ahead of some FUD that I know is going to end up coming. Don't expect to pick up one of these NFTs and go and like sell it for a quick 100 ADA flip. It's going to be a 45,000 NFT supply. That is a huge amount, and the value on secondary markets in the short term is not going to be very high. Like I would be impressed if 20 ADA is the floor price for these NFTs within the first few months. The secondary market of these is the value isn't going to be super high because it's going to be like such a large total supply. So let's make that thing absolutely clear. This is just a fun thing to offer the community. The mint price is next to nothing because Meld isn't looking to make money off of this. It's a gift to the community for making Meld what it is today. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that great reminder. I do want to add also that there's going to be 10 golden bank managers now. Those I don't think will be trading for 20 ADA. If you see one of those for 20 ADA, definitely scoop those up right away.
Mm-hmm.
But out of the 45,000, I mean, think of that percentage. That's such a small percent. Only 10 of them will be golden. And so those will give you an additional yield boost. And I don't believe that the loan interest rate will be any greater. I may be wrong. I'll double check that there. But you definitely get a higher yield boost if you hold one of the golden bank managers because of their rarity. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're interested in earning one, I believe there's going to be 10 being given out or earmarked to be given out to the community. I believe one or two will be going out to members who are the most active within the MELD Discord. The freeloaders team will also have, I believe, one or two to distribute to their community. They're going to have a raffle, so stay tuned for that. And then I believe the remaining 6 to 8 around there will be kind of distributed to different projects to kind of distribute to their own communities in a way that they see fit. So stay tuned for that. Again, a lot of exciting news here coming down the pipeline from Meld. I'll definitely be looking to see if I can find a golden one on the secondary marketplace. So
Quick addition to that. The golden bank managers, because I did a video about it a while back. They are going to have a substantial loan interest rate reduction, a whole 1% off. And I did a video about how golden bank managers are set to be a $1 million asset. I stick to that.
yeah, that's a good point because I mean, as you get institutional adoption, 1% could mean a lot, you know.
Yep. Yep.
So that's a really great point, man. If you end up somehow landing one of these golden bank managers, definitely keep that close to your chest and double check where you're storing that seed phrase, holding that NFT. So I think that is going to bring us to a close, Josh. It's about 45 minutes now. I really appreciate you coming on. I always enjoy these conversations, man. Any closing thoughts here that you want to share with the community before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think one thing that I've an attitude that I've really started to take to heart, I think, in this past couple of days, week, really, is that it's a complete waste of time to be tearing down projects. Whether, and then I'm not just saying that because Meld gets a lot of flack for, I think, no reason, but um, the dialogue is important, but it should not be about just chaos and destruction and worst case scenarios. Let's have real productive discussions. I think that's what we need right now in this market, and I think that that's what's gonna be the thing that like makes this space better is really coming together on this because the community does play a part in the future in this space, and it's not just a one-way street. We're all playing a part here. The power of any one individual means a huge difference, and I think the time now is to come together and have discussions and not try to be tearing things down.
That's a really great point to end on. I think as a whole, if any project fails here within Cardano, it's going to reflect on the entire chain. People looking from the outside in already wish on the downfall of Cardano. So there's no need for us to add and to play into their hands as to what they actually want to see happen with Cardano, right? Charles has a lot on his mind. People FUD him all the time, you know, and IOG, Cardano Foundation, like people want to see Cardano fail. And so if any projects here fail because of us infighting and FUDding ourselves out, again, it only helps other people or other ecosystems that really don't want to see us flourish. So Wonderful way to end it out there. Again, Josh, I appreciate you jumping on here. If you guys are interested in finding out more about Josh and his channel, go ahead and check it out. I'm going to leave the link to it down in the description below. He covers the latest DeFi news as well as NFT news surrounding the Cardano ecosystem. That is going to bring us to a close here for today's Cardano consensus. If you guys found any of the discussion topics here to be helpful or insightful, then please make sure to drop that like. If it's your first time stopping by the Dapp Central YouTube channel, consider subscribing and as well as check out Josh's channel. And if you guys have any questions for me or Josh, then make sure to leave those down in the comment section below. That said, and as always, we will both see you guys in the next video.